Are you feeling the calling to start or grow a business that is so aligned with you and everything that makes up who you are? Do you know that there has to be a way to do this without so much hustle and without chasing the latest shiny objects, but you're just not sure how? You can definitely have a dream business that improves, not consumes your life, that allows you to work with soulmate clients while helping you and your family financially and in all ways. You can elevate yourself to be the entrepreneur who has all of her desires. I'm going to show you how on the Elevated Femmes movement. Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Elevated Femmes movement. Julia, your host here. I'm so happy that you're back for another episode and to listen to another great episode. I'm very excited to talk with Emily, who's my guest this week, and to really talk about the power of our voice. And I feel like Emily is going to drop some golden nuggets on us today. So definitely stay tuned for the whole episode. If you are new to me, I just want to tell you a little bit about who I am. I am an entrepreneur. This is my second business, and I help heart-led entrepreneurs elevate their brand, amplify their voices so that they can create a bigger impact doing the amazing work that they do. And that is through value-based visibility via podcasting. So I have another podcaster with me, Emily Yurchesen. I hope I said that right, Emily. But Emily, she is the Songbird. She is a musician. I believe you're also a singer, Emily. I'll let you tell us more about yourself in a moment here. But Emily and I met in the interwebs not too long ago, and we chatted about podcasting. I helped her out with some food for thought as to how she can really connect the dots between her podcast and her business. And we recorded an episode together, and we just it kind of dawned on me that there is so much power in our voice and how it can allow us to put forward exactly what we want in such a beautiful way. So Emily, I'm going to pass the mic on to you and let you tell us a little bit more about yourself. And then we'll get the interview part rolling.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for that introduction. I am deeply grateful to be here today with you. And my name is Emily Yurchesen. Emily the Songbird is the name of my podcast. And it's the part of me that I'm really connecting with right now. I have a lot of different aspects of who I am. I am a music teacher for families in Santa Barbara. That's where I live. And right now we're going through some flooding, so it's kind of an interesting place to be. But I am cater to the families here, helping them. I teach guitar and piano and ukulele and singing and songwriting. And but the roots of that really go deeper because I always loved to dance when I was little with my father, and I played the piano a little bit, but I was so afraid actually of my voice. I was so afraid of all the emotion that could come out of me that I really stuffed it. And I don't know if anybody can relate. And Julie, I don't know if you can relate either, but it was such a process of discovering, and through an amazing journey that I took in my 20s, I actually was able to find my voice, and I'm in the process of expanding and exploring it at deeper levels and modeling that for others. So thank you so much for having me on here today.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I can definitely relate. And I feel like I'm sure whoever's listening to this, they can relate to it at some point in their lives. And a lot of us go through, the people pleasing. It's like this limiting belief that we have to do what others expect of us and want from us, but we forget to put ourselves first, and not in a selfish way, but more about all right, well, what is it that I need to do to be all that I can be, to do the things that I want to be doing. And that entails sometimes not saying what we really mean, not using our voice, not expressing ourselves, not standing up for ourselves or for others, right? Like for others too. If we're seeing that, other people are being treated a certain way, we just sort of keep quiet because we think, well, who am I? Like, what difference can I make? Maybe I should just mind my own business, right? So I feel like, again, there's so much power. I'll probably keep saying this again and again in this episode, but there's so much power in using our voice.
It's absolutely huge. And what's fascinating too is if you really listen to yourself, like if you record yourself talking and you catch yourself, because there's what I discovered is that there's an inner and there's an outer voice. And so our outer voice can be, and I have this all the time when I work with people, it's like they're saying one thing, but their energy inside, their truth is in a different place. And so it's an interesting thing to actually go, but wait a second, what is your inner voice saying right now? And I think, like you said, it goes back to how we've been conditioned, right? We've been, especially as girls, we've been conditioned to please. We've been conditioned to rescue others. And I wrote a song recently that I started this volunteer project writing letters for younger, and I don't know if it's all girls, but you're writing to them to encourage them to find their voice. And it's a really fun project because I love to write, but finding your voice, finding your power, like you said, and standing in that. And so one of the things I love to do is I'm also a songwriter, and I wrote a song about being a lighthouse of love. And I have a picture behind my piano of that. And I discovered that so much of my life, I have fallen in those, I don't know if I call them traps, but places where it was really about serving others to the detriment of my own being, as you talked about. Mm-hmm. And so this song came to me, and they often do with those nuggets of like, you are a lighthouse. You are here to emanate the light so that you can model for others to express the light and love of who they are. And so it's so I shared that with this girl that I was writing to, a 14-year-old girl. And it was so fun to share the story of it, because I think when we really, like you said, we stand in our power, we express who we truly are, and we express that authenticity through our voice. And then we're able to be compassionate with the wholeness of who we are, because sometimes we might frighten others, or we might push other people away or disappoint other people. And so we have to be able to hold that compassionate space for ourselves as we grow and evolve in that way. Would you agree with that?
I do. I totally do. How do you think that Emily the Songbird, your podcast, helps you in doing that and helps you in maximizing your message and, amplifying your true essence?
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that question. I've never had that question before. I really believe that it is through the voice. I think when I speak, people have different vehicles, but for me, when I speak, I channel. And so, and at first I just started by myself, and I just thought, this is healing for me to talk about what's really going on inside of me, not the roles that I'm doing, not the teacher role, I had to somehow to get out of that. And so my first couple episodes were really, just me kind of at introspection and sharing some of my writing and the book that I wrote and things like that. And then I thought, well, what if I invited other people on and I could share and communicate with them, and together we would explore terrain, the inner terrain. And then I started doing that, and I found that it was so magical what happened when we had conversation. And I found that with you too. It was such a joy, as you had said, we had found each other on the internet, and you found me in a place where I was a bit distraught, and you were so sweet and so helpful and modeled for me where, the direction I really wanted to go. So I think through communication and conversation that we can really create those nuggets. And things happen when we communicate with our voice, especially if we allow our true emotion to come out. So I think I found that I had a gift in that, and I really enjoy learning and listening and communicating in that way with people. So yeah.
Yeah. And so for your podcast, I believe that you do audio only. You don't record videos typically, right?
Typically, I don't. I have done a few of them, and I'm interested to do that in the future. But like you had said on the last podcast, that I think I need to practice a little bit with that to get it. And it's funny because we're doing this podcast today, even though, and you can see me, but I can't see you. So it's a little bit of both. But there's so much that can be through the body language that can be expressed too. That I think is wonderful. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on how we started talking about this a little bit when I was on your podcast, but like just how we can sort of like transmit our essence through just our voice. So like, if I'm talking with you and we can't see each other, but we can just hear each other, and we can hear the tonality of our voices. We can hear, okay, there's excitement in that sentence. There's a little bit of like something in some other sentence. Like we know where like something is not right with us, right? And we know what lights us up. That's so amazing to me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love doing my podcast, is because I feel like when I go on video, it's like, it's more work, right? Because you want to look a certain way, right? Like at least right. We have like the Zoom, the Zoom look where like you're wearing a shirt, you have your hair decently done, but perhaps you're in workout pants or pajamas, no judgments.
Right. Exactly.
But like when you're recording a podcast, you can be like totally relaxed. You can be in your full on pajamas if you want to, anywhere you want to. So it just also provides that like freedom to like really express yourself and really allow like that true essence. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And they say that the eyes are the window to the soul, but I feel like the voice is it's like the vibration of the soul. It's the energy of the soul, and to me, because that's what people tell me all the time, is that, we love your energy. And I found that when I talked to you, the very first time I talked to you, is that you had this compassion in your voice that was, and I also knew it mirrored it back for me. I was like, oh, that's what people say about me, is that, that I could really, my heart opened when I heard your voice. And I think that, and it's interesting because you said, are you a singer too? And I actually am. I really, I've been shy about that part of myself, but because I'm such an avid songwriter, I actually just won an award from my voice, from my singing voice.
Goodness.
Yeah. So I was really excited. Thank you so much. And it was such a shock to me because I was so afraid. And now I'm just really starting to sing. And it's interesting because I connected with this man on this dating site, and he sent me a audio of him singing a song, and it was so beautiful. And so we had a video chat last night, and I just received a few more songs that he did. One was a Randy Travis song and something else. But he's struggling with a disease. He has Huntington's disease, and it's a combination between Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And
Oh,
so
wow.
it's a neurological thing. And so when I had the conversation with him, I was just so encouraging of his voice as a healing tool because, that our voice can heal us. And that's another thing. It's like we can express ourselves and we can empower ourselves and we can grow our business, but it actually can it can heal us. And singing is a really profound way to do that. So I just wanted to share that.
Oh, that's lovely. And I love how you're encouraging him to find what he already has inside
Yeah.
to put himself in a different situation, right? Because I can only imagine if somebody's going through, diseases like that, it's, sometimes I'm sure like, people feel like, oh, there's nothing else I can do, right? But
Right.
yeah, there's something such as just focusing on your voice and singing, right? Using something that can be so fun
Oh,
to
it's so
bring
healing.
joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just now, like I said, we're in a flood zone here. And so a lot of people had to leave. My sister, there was a mudslide on her street. And so I've been
Oh
in
my
my
goodness.
little home, just holing in. And so I decided to write a song about the rain because it was, I was like, well, what else am I going to do? So, I started questioning the rain and kind of because nature has its way with us. But I sat down at the piano and I started playing the song about rain, and it was just very soothing. And so, sometimes it's really, we can't always change the situation of things, but we can be present with it. And I think the voice is a really beautiful way to be present with our own heart.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I think it's also, like one way I can think of that somebody listening to this might be like, well, I'm not a singer. I don't sing. And I don't have a podcast right now. But
Yeah.
the thought that came to me, like this download I had while we were just talking about that, is that you can simply just start by, I'm sure there's like a name for it, right? I'm sure there's a thing because it feels like it should be. But you just start by like looking at yourself in the mirror and saying kind words to yourself. Like
Oh,
how healing could that be, right? Like if somebody grew up, I don't know, somebody grew up in a home where there wasn't a lot of nice things being said, for example, I don't know.
yes,
Or like when they
yes.
were very criticized by people around them.
Absolutely.
Look at yourself and
Absolutely.
say kind things to yourself, right? Like that is just your voice to
Yes.
yourself and
Yes.
so healing, right?
Yes. Yes. And there are names for them. In fact, in my book, I have an exercise called the affirmation chant. And I
Oh,
teach people because it's through the repetition of, what you believe about yourself. I am more than I am a brilliant writer, or I am, whatever it is you affirm about yourself. I sing to bring me joy, or I'm healing, or, whatever it is. And you can say those things, but you can also begin to chant them and, you can affirm them over and over again. And then that's actually what changes the cellular memory and the neurology in your body. And that's why,
oh, wow.
it's really amazing. And mantras are another way, and they've been doing those for thousands of years. In fact, I have on my podcast a woman who was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she decided not to take that diagnosis. She said, "Nope, I'm not." The doctor said she was going to die, and she
Yeah.
said, "No, I'm not going to do that." And she hadn't sung all of her life. So she started singing in the simplest ways, and then she started singing about angels, and then it became this little book that she wrote, and then she sang more and more, and it shifted her diagnosis. She went
Wow.
into, yeah, and she also told, and this is the power of chanting and mantra and affirmation, is that she had a dream about a Sanskrit, which a chant from India, when the Twin Towers were going down, and the chant came in her dream and it wiped all the destruction away. And so, somehow there's really ancient vibrational networks in our that we can connect through our voice. And the simplest way is even just toning. You can affirm things, like you said, stand in front of the mirror. I am good. I am good by my nature, because I think, like you had alluded to, and I've gone through it. This trance of unworthiness is actually what this wonderful teacher Tara Brach talks about. That that I'm not good enough, that I'm not enough the way I am, and so saying that over and over, I'm enough. I'm enough. And then for me, that's how it kind of started in the journey of music started coming, because the more I affirmed what I truly was from the soul level, the more that music started to come, and more that channel opened. And then I was able to affirm more and to open that channel up to my own creative essence.
That is amazing. That's amazing. So I'd love to hear a little bit more, because I know that you also work with creatives and other musicians. So tell us a little bit about that work that you do.
Yes. Well, I wrote a book called An Odyssey of Song, A Musical Journey into Your Creative Heart, and that's available in Amazon. And it's a workbook. I actually have an online course with it as well. And so what I do is it's a course about whether you already do play music, or you are, or you haven't ever sung, you have something inside of you that really wants to express. And so it's a wonderful 12-week journey that I take people on. And we do singing and songwriting. Actually, I teach people to write their own, their autobiographical story, and I help them to put it into a song. And then So because that's, a lot of people, they can tell the story, like I know my story, but then what I do is I bring the music to that. In fact, I did one of my last clients is a radio host, and in my last podcast we had a conversation, and he has been talking all of his life and doing that, but he wrote this song called "I'm a Good Man." And I helped him to put the music and the guitar to it. So, and it was all about, he discovered that, the goodness, like I said, that and especially with men, like that responsibility of like, oh, I have to be the provider. I have to be all of this. And so, and he's been sharing the song. In fact, he shares it on the interview, and it's a simple song. It's his first song that he's ever written. But through that program, I help people to find their voice. I help people to find their song.
Well, it's just amazing. I absolutely think that anyone who's looking to find their voice, creatives or not creatives, they need to check you out, because you are just so lovely. And I mean, Emily the Songbird, I think that is just like the perfect name for your podcast, for anything that you want to do, because you're a lovely little songbird. So Emily, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I look forward to chatting with you again, having you back on the podcast or being back on yours, because I feel like we can keep talking about the voice and just how valuable really tuning into our voice and our inner selves is for anything that we want to do. But tell us where people can go if they want to learn more about you, connect with you.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Well, my podcast is Emily the Songbird, and it's on Anchor, and so I'm looking to expand it. I think it's going on more platforms now too.
Yes,
so, we're doing that.
Yep.
And you can view me at my website at emilysongbird.com, and try to reach out to me now. I'm having a few technical difficulties with my website, but yeah, that would be the best way. And I'm really grateful. Every time I talk to you, Julie, my heart is just so open. And thank you so much for all the work that you do and for your support. I hope that together we can help more people to find their voice and express their song and share their message and their mission in the world. So Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again. We'll put all those links in the show notes. And I hope that everybody, whoever's listening, has an amazing day. Thank you for joining us. And thank you again, Emily.
Oh, thank you so much, Julia. Many blessings.
Thank you for listening to the Elevated Femmes movement. I would love to hear your thoughts on the podcast, so please leave us a review. If you know someone who could benefit from the episodes on the show, please share it with them. We need more women elevating to their highest potential, enjoying all the great things in life, having plenty of time freedom for their children and loved ones, while doing things smarter and not harder, and growing a business that improves, not consumes their life. To connect with me and download my free resources, please go to www.juliamhickman.com.